Some of the things I got to do, which was awesome, like in the last year, was like the bigger ones were like Facing Kate was just called Fairly Legal. Robin Nielsen helped me do, and then I got Marley Me Too, which was like got me completely out of debt, and just having that credit now, like casting directors look at you and they're like, oh, what were you on Marley and Me? And you're like the lead, and they're like, oh, and you know they're actually looking at you now, and then I got to go to Romania, the same director from Marley Me Too, and I got to do a movie with Roger Moore, and like, you know, to do a movie with James Bond, like, is like, you know, and a film legend, you know, I know down the road they're gonna be like, oh, what was it like, you know, working with Roger Moore, like, you know, and to get to flown, I'd never been to Europe, so to get to do that kind of experience is just amazing, and then, you know, I got Supernatural, and then, you know, still working, like, I'm going to be doing Trading Christmas soon, and I did Rags, which Nick Cannon is producing, and that was really sick because I also do hip-hop, so for a while I was like, am I going to have to choose doing, like, rap or acting, and, like, to do both is awesome. Like, in Rags, I get to be a rapper, and I wrote the intro to it, and then even on Marley Me, I wrote a song, and I did the whole song for at the end credits for that. So it's really cool. Both of them are going in, and yeah, basically now I'm a working actor, and like I'm actually making a living off it, and it's great making a living off of your art. Yeah, well, I'm always trying to be. People say that often about me. They're like, "Man, you're so talented. You got it, you know, and you're very humble." And I was like, "Well, you have to be." Like, I was when I was in Romania. There was this little girl, and like you could see things really going to her head, like everybody grabbing her coat. You know what I mean? Everyone be like not letting her pick up anything, and you know, I said her mom was asking me a lot of questions. They were concerned, like, and so was her dad concerned that she's going to be one of these child actors, you know, and they don't want to grow up and, you know, to one of those, like, I won't name any names, but like a bad child actor, right? And I was like, well, something my mom told me was, you know, have an attitude of gratitude, right? And like, you know, be humble, right? Because it could take over. It could be very easy when everybody's pampering you to just kind of be really into yourself and not do things that you normally should, right? Kind of like from Vancouver, like I moved here to pursue acting, and about 3 months into it, like my dad passed away, and you know, he was always really motivating me and like into doing the acting. Like when I was a little kid, I mean, the struggle has been since I was like 7 years old, 8 years old. I've always had this dream, and I had an agent in Vancouver, but my mom at the time was living in Penticton, and my dad was always away for work. So for her to try to drive 6 hours for an audition, it just wasn't feasible. And then my dad passed away, and I just had no looking back, right? I was just like, well, this is, you know, what he wanted, and he knew, so I'm just gonna, you know, keep on doing it. And then I, you know, after that I got an agent. She recommended me going here, and it wasn't until I started going here that I really started getting more like callbacks and stuff, and then it was about 8 months of like nothing, and it was just like definitely disheartening when you think you're gonna just come here and be like boom, but it's not that easy, right? You still have to work at it. Even I did theater all my life from like ages 8 to like 18, and then for like very, you know, community theater and like schools and even some that were like more paid for professional theater companies, but yeah, it wasn't until I still did a lot of training before I booked my first role, and then even after that it was like another drought, and I had to just like at one point after being in school and doing, and like, you know, everything costs money to live, and it's hard to have a regular job when you're doing acting, so because you always have to be available and it has to be your first priority, right? And you know, there was a point I remember talking to you, Deb, and I was just like, I don't know if I can do it. Like, I'm 18 grand in debt. Like, I can't even hold a real job. Like, I might have to commit bankruptcy. Like, I don't know. Like, and like, you know, I just dealing with other things in my head, like, you know, girlfriends breaking up with you, and just life, right? And it's, they always say, everyone tells you, like, just keep on going through it, you know, because all the actors know that if that have got to a point, it's just perseverance, right? I mean, most of the time it's not going to be just making a YouTube video and being like famous. I mean, most of the time it's going to be putting that work into it and just really honing your craft. And but eventually, I mean, then you just, you start booking. And once you start booking and casting directors are noticing you and you're really in that zone, then yeah, things start taking off. Just mentally, my hindrance at the time before going to the Foundry was connecting with anything like really emotionally and like and giving that justice to it. The Foundry really helped me with getting emotion, getting that tool in, well, in every way, just because I didn't have that. Look, for me, trying to grasp anything emotionally was really hard, and people would, like my other coaches would be like, before this would be like stop acting, you're acting, and I'm like, I don't get it, like that's what I'm doing, I'm acting, like what do you mean stop acting, right? But I think what he was really trying to say was like, actually be that character, and in order to be that character you have to be there mentally and emotionally. And so this place has helped me, like the Foundry has helped me find a way to connect with that with my personal life and then put that with the character. And then once you're there in your, you know, your emotional circumstantial state is there, then you forget about it and you're in the scene. It's just really helped me with all around the board. And then once you have those tools, it's just becomes a lot easier. At first it's a real struggle, and then it gets easier as you practice it more. Just do it. The one piece of advice I could give to myself when I was like 18 is just to do it. Like I was gonna go, I remember I went and worked on the rigs for a while, and I was even a traveling vacuum salesman, which was all good, but the all means were to try to save money so I could go to film school and do it. But like ultimately, you know, just get to the city and just start auditioning and just start working on your craft and just doing it, because you know, you can think about it and you can talk about it, but until you start doing it, it's not necessarily going to happen as quick as you think. So the more time you're wasting, the more just do it. Yeah. The main thing I think the Foundry will stick with me is like that they help you find your core belief and knowing what your struggle is, what you believe in, who you really love. All those questions that you ask yourself in the character are going to be the same questions you should ask yourself in your everyday life, and that'll just help you throughout your acting career, but as well as your life career, and it'll just help you persevere and persist. Persistence overcomes resistance, which is kind of one of my core beliefs. So yeah.